Hello and welcome, members of the Wonderverse. I'm Hannah,
And I'm producer Nick.
and you are listening to episode 43 of Into the Wonderverse, your one and only source into all things Scarlet Witch and friends. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for bearing with us. I'm still going through it personally. It's going to be a bit of a recurring theme for a wee while now, but when you hear this, I will probably have just had my 30th birthday. So happy birthday to me.
Turning 30.
Yeah. My birthday's on the 2nd of December. Don't know when this is going to be posted. I am not as expected in Disney due to health issues. But it's fine. I'm totally chill with it. It's
You're,
whatever.
you're doing all right, Hannah. You're doing all right. You're with
Yeah.
you're with friends tomorrow. You'll be
As long as
fine.
my birthday is not as cancelled as I thought it was going to be.
No.
But yeah, so if you were looking for me in Disney, I won't be there. I'm sorry. It's not happening. But it's been an interesting time of rumors. There's been much speculation. And we're going to address some news today. We're going to talk comics. We're going to talk future. And we're going to do a little bit of a review of the content that we've gotten as we head towards the end of the year. Because, it's the time where people start reflecting on stuff in December, I fear.
It's 1st of December. People start reflecting, like as soon as it
Well, that's
hits
when
that.
Spotify Wrapped comes out. So, I
Oh,
don't. I'm an Apple Music girly, but I hear that people care.
yeah, that is true. That that
Um,
is that is true. That is a thing.
Apple Music gives you a summary at the end of each month, but who am I to yuck people's yum? All of you guys are gonna get called to buy Labubu chocolate by Spotify, and that's none of my business.
I don't know what that's referencing.
You don't know what did you not get Spotify Wrapped last year?
I'm not on Spotify. I just have the Apple Music thing, and even then, it's just
I thought you
Nine
said
Inch
F1
Nails
music
and
then, and I was like, what is that? Just do Max Verstappen. And boy, I got a wild imagination on a loop.
yeah, and that's your one and only F1 reference this episode.
It's my
Um,
birthday, so I should get more than one.
we'll see how we get on.
Okay, so we're gonna dive into the news. So, the big story is obviously that we have a new set of rumors that a version of the Scarlet Witch will appear in Doomsday in her, as we have heard, her Uncanny Avengers slash Unity Squad outfit. So like this huge red leather coat with red boots and the crown. Now, I have looked at the source of this rumor, which is a visual effects artist on Twitter, who may or may not have something to do with Doomsday. He's never spread false rumors before. As far as I can tell, he's not like a known quote unquote leaker, but he's also not been right about anything before. And there are a bunch of pictures that are purporting to be from the set that don't feature Wanda, but do feature Monica, who has not yet been announced in the cast. I thought we all knew them not announcing Monica was a real weird one to me because we know she's in the X-Men universe based on the end of the Marvels. Them not announcing her was always a strange one to me.
I think it's more to do with the fact that they fully intended on doing the chairs and they just didn't. Um, I don't know. I think there was probably some pushback to do with the chairs, so Monica never got a chair. Um,
It's just a weird one to me because she feels like a very logical element to have announced already. So there are some pictures, some of them are clear AI, some it feels almost like there's probably one real one buried in the
I
they're
don't
all
know.
pictures of
I
the
would I would
X-Men
just
cast.
stay away from. I if you see any behind the scenes stuff of pictures being taken on the set of Doomsday, I just don't believe it. The Unless things are shot on location, like Spider-Man Brand New Day being shot in Glasgow, and you're seeing pictures being taken by actual people on their actual iPhones, I wouldn't believe anything you see coming from quote unquote the set of Doomsday. Um, Personally, I've just seen a lot of AI generated images, and it's it's concerning in one way, but all it is it's just a carry on of the culture of YouTube fake trailers. baiting into views and
Back in
using.
my day, we had to edit together random clips from other movies to create our fake trailers. We
Yeah.
had to Photoshop people. I think because the leak from Spider-Man No Way Home was real, it's like, of Andrew Garfield on the bridge. Like, I think that some of my lack of skepticism maybe comes from there. I fully believe Monica is in this movie. I think it would be very odd if she wasn't. The the supposed rumor goes that Elizabeth Olsen is playing a quote unquote, well, this is where the confusion comes in. They said a version of the Scarlet Witch is a good Scarlet Witch who is the daughter of Magneto basically, and she is a helpful, which would imply that she's a mutant in this universe, which would make sense with the costume that they're talking about because that was very much Wanda's comeback costume, the Unity Squad moment. Um a lot of people are interpreting this as her not being played by Elizabeth Olsen, but I think that that would be a bonkers move. And I really think people are obsessed with this idea that if Marvel bring her back, she's not going to be Elizabeth Olsen. And I think that that's in some ways wishful thinking from certain corners of the fandom. And I understand why they want a Romani Wanda, which is totally valid. But I just don't think that Marvel's going to, for a cameo, Marvel's not going to make a this ginormous change and lose goodwill, because I'm afraid there is a large portion of the fandom that would very much push back on this idea, and it's why I'm actually not in favor of recasting until they have properly wrapped up that storyline, because I think that it would cause the actress involved. I mean, I've seen Star Wars. I've been on Star Wars Twitter,
Oh.
so I don't think
Oh
that you
no.
yeah, I think that recasting a character whose arc isn't finished in the same universe, it's not like having the brand new set of X-Men that are going to come in. Like if they had decided that she was going to come in as a younger version with these new X-Men, that would be a different kettle of
Mm.
fish.
We aren't dealing with Terrence Howard into Don Cheadle and Edward Norton into Mark Ruffalo. We're not dealing with that. We're dealing with an actress that is very tied to a character. I
Who is
don't, but
talking prominently
yeah,
about playing that character
yeah.
again?
And she's been very, very supportive of the character in the past. And this isn't. This isn't Disney at the moment. Marvel and Disney at the moment are not in any way, any circumstances the same as what 20th Century Fox were pulling in the mid 2000s, where they just did what they wanted, and to a certain extent, what Sony have been doing since the early 2000s as well. When it comes to any rumors and stuff, like is a bit of a top tip. Um, Listen to actors who are being questioned like Kelsey Grammer, for example, or Alan Cumming, actors that have no ties whatsoever to the Marvel machine. They have no ties to franchise filmmaking except for the fact that they played like iconic characters. Kelsey Grammer has come out basically confirming that he shares scenes with Pedro Pascal, which is like entirely new information. Alan Cumming, like who very famously played Nightcrawler, has like been saying stuff about stuff that he's done. So just kind of like keep an eye out on these kind of like actors that you know, like though Kelsey Grammer and Alan Cumming basically are the two at the moment, but basically try and look out for those kind of interviews, because stuff will get said that maybe they shouldn't have said, but they have no tie. They don't really care as much because at the end of the day, Kelsey Grammer is Fraser Crane. Like, how is he going to care that he won't get to play Beast again? Um,
And this has to be the bow out for these versions of the X-Men.
oh,
I
100%. I
We
mean, like,
cannot go again.
the only one I want to see, the only one I want to see is I want to see James Marsden in his proper Cyclops outfit. Like, I feel gutted. Like, James Marsden never got to be the big action, he never got to be the big superhero star that I think he kind of should have been. And I think his Cyclops, like, I think there is real potential for his Cyclops to be like properly iconic. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, in terms of what's going to happen with this presumed rumor that this version of Wanda will coming back, it does tie into what we're kind of hearing about Doomsday and
The only
subsequently Secret
reason
Wars.
I am giving this rumor any kind of credence, I'm gonna, because usually when people will know when people talk about any kind of rumor, I'm like, well, it came from Malika, like who knows? And I had heard previously from somebody who I do kind of trust that the version that they had heard about did not have Wanda in, but we know that kind of extensive reshoots are kind of happening all the time.
Yeah.
They're based, it like kind of like they're filming in blue rooms, so it doesn't matter. Basically, they filmed some stuff on location, but like the X-Men stuff and like a lot of the Fantastic Four stuff, we have seen some pictures from the set that are real from the cast. They're filming in spaceships, you know? So lots of these planets are not going to be real spaces, you know? And I like the reason I'm giving this rumor any credence is first off because remember Chris Claremont came out like 6 months ago and was like, "Oh, I've heard this about the film," and some of the stuff he said has already kind of. We all kind of know Steve Rogers is in this movie.
Yeah.
We all know Peggy's back, and he talked extensively about that in this random rant he went on. And I thought that he had just seen like an AI trailer because I didn't want to like believe that he was right, but he talked about. And he specifically mentioned Elizabeth Olsen by name as well,
Mm.
rather than
Well,
like,
this is what I'm talking about. If you're gonna listeners, if you're gonna pay attention to rumors, like pay attention to people like Chris Claremont, like these people that don't have these attachments that will just let these things out there. Don't just go around believing random Twitter threads. And you're right, Hannah. You gotta draw the strings together. You gotta be Charlie in that episode of It's Always Sunny where you're going Pepe Sylvia, it's all connected. Like you do kind of have to go, not say to that length, but like you do have to kind of like draw some strings together and like try and work out what's going where. So like if they are lining up, like if there is enough breadcrumbs to lead up to a point, then you're not just in Delulu land where clown music is going to get played for an episode.
yeah, it's also the so the other interesting thing about so we all know that the Disney parks are one of our best sources of synergy, kind of where a character is in the minds of the executives, who they are.
I hate that word so much.
Okay, well,
Synergy,
it's
it's
I
just
know you do, but
awful.
it is what is happening. So buckle down, baby. Um, Wanda is now a just a walking around character. Last year we only saw her in America and like in the parks in the context of Halloween.
Yes.
Even though Agatha was premiering, that's also when we see whereas Wanda is now just a face character who is walking around Avengers campus and she is no longer corrupted by the Darkhold on campus. And if you don't know how the Disney parks work, the characters that are wandering around are supposed to be taking part in their current story. So they are usually it works strangely with Captain America because obviously he's passed away technically, but they are supposed to be taking place in their movie, whereas the Scarlet Witch is in a place that is past her movie. When you interact with her now, she talks about how the Darkhold had corrupted her, but now she sees that that was bad, and she's hoping that being on Avengers campus will help her to find her strength again. And she is like no longer being like, I need to find Billy and Tommy. Like the Darkhold showed me the truth. Her fingers aren't corrupted. She's still obviously in the Multiverse of Madness costume, but I think it's very interesting that that is the image they now want to portray of Wanda. And it doesn't entirely make sense because they could have, if they wanted to just have a good Wanda, put her stuck her back in the WandaVision costume. And they do that with like the princesses. They are not at the end of their story. They are in the story when Ariel is wearing the mermaid tail. She is still in the place in her movie where the mermaid bit is taking place, and she doesn't acknowledge stuff that happens in the Little Mermaid too. So they very much have a storyline script. What the Disney characters say to you is heavily scripted. I actually know people who are friends of Disney characters. Please do not, by the way, I'm going to put out a PSA here because I've been asked by people that do know some of the actresses Please do not try to find them. Do not try to find their social medias outside of the character. Do not harass them. Do not find their real names. And do not ask them questions about what Disney have said to them. What I am doing right now is I'm speculating. But that does not mean that you should go and find the real people who are playing, who are friends of Wanda, and asking them questions or trying to ask them when they are working.
Yeah, don't do that.
Especially if you see them in a different costume. Do not ask them questions about Wanda. I hate that I have to say this, but I've had to delete some comments on some of my videos where people are trying to find the real actresses.
Really?
Yeah, well, they'll be like, she
Don't
isn't
do that, guys. Come on.
She isn't Lizzie Olsen. Why is she playing Wanda? Because it's a kids' park.
Yeah.
Do you think that Jodie Benson puts on the Ariel costume? These characters, I think now that these characters are Disney property, what you need to understand is that the character exists outside of that actor and always will.
Yes.
Like, it's been more complicated in recent memory with transitioning specifically Marvel characters. DC, I mean, DC is seeing it a little bit with the Snyderverse, but many of these characters, the original actors has passed. I would not have to say unalive. They're dead. They died. They passed away. Like we couldn't be wheeling out the original Batman.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they did do it in the Flash movie, so
Don't bring that up to
I,
me.
I, I know I know where you're coming from. I know where you're coming from.
But like, please don't be like, why is this actress not Elizabeth
Yeah,
Olsen? Because Wanda is going to be a character who has existed out before Elizabeth and will continue to exist when Elizabeth is frankly, there will come a day where Elizabeth is too old to go up on the wires.
yeah,
Look what happened to Alfred Molina almost broke his back
yeah.
trying to do some of the with the weight of the Doc Ock
The
costume.
the thing you guys gotta do in terms of casting, you gotta look at two examples, prime examples, many from Britain, which are Doctor Who and James Bond. These are characters which are iconography. The iconography is defined by their name and by what they are. You think of Doctor Who, you think of certain aspects to do with the character. Same with James Bond, you think of aspects to do with their character. Um, that's where they're at. So that's why the recasting works. That's why you have these different iterations. It's because you're looking at iconography, you're looking at these pieces of the character rather than who is actually playing them. The problem that we've got now is that everything's all bleeding together in terms of like, Nick Fury is Samuel L. Jackson, for example. Like they're all kind of bleeding in together. Robert Downey Jr. is very much tied to Iron Man. You got to guys got to kind of look past this point. James Bond is always going to be a different actor. Is always going to end up playing James Bond. Different actor or an actress is going to end up playing Doctor Who, and it will come to a point where Elizabeth Olsen will, at some point in live action, will no longer be playing Scarlet Witch, but also in the parks and all the animated shows. These different actresses, different people playing this character. So you got to understand that yes, wander around the park, is not going to be Elizabeth Olsen. It's going to be an actress playing them because it's a different version of him. It's a character. It's iconography that you got to think about that's going to be able to be portrayed by somebody else.
Especially, I see a lot of people being like, "Is it makes more sense when it's an MCU version?" So people, but like, there were multiple MCU characters in Marvel Zombies who were not voiced by their original actor.
I think it's easier for animation because
You'd be surprised at my comment section. People will get
okay,
real pressed if it's not going to be Elizabeth. And we want to see Wanda in more projects. And Elizabeth is not going to be available,
no,
especially if we get. I'm obviously pushing for, we're seeing a lot of movement around the House of Harkness series, like the comic going into a graphic novel. You know, it's gained a lot of popularity. It fits in with the target demographic that Marvel are trying to hit with things like, the Adventures of Spider-Man. And I can't remember what's it called, the Spider-Man prequel series.
oh, friendly neighborhood,
Yeah, that I haven't seen it, but you
nor
know what
I.
I'm talking about because it's that tween demographic who would then become old enough to watch Marvel movies.
Yeah,
Wanda is supposed to be 16 in that. It's not going to be Elizabeth Olsen, and it's definitely not going to be Catherine Hahn as a teenage Agatha Harkness.
That would
And
be.
that
I would.
is,
I would watch that, but no, it's not going to be a wet hot American summer version of that.
and it's
Although,
wet, and it is really okay. And casting should also develop and reflect the socio-economic and political times that we live in. And in 2012, when they're first casting Wanda, Joss Whedon was never going to cast you know, a Joss Whedon and his tendency for casting was never going to cast a Romani Wanda. And Wanda in the comics did not, at that point, have darker skin and had not for her entire run.
yeah,
Yeah. She had been a very straight up white, a Romani woman, but a white Romani woman
yes,
at that point. And also at some points was part Jewish, but like, blah, 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 blah. I digress. But now we live in a time that is more culturally conscious of casting. And so hopefully Wanda in the future may look like the Wanda from the comics, and that is okay. And it will be okay if you still enjoy Elizabeth Olsen's portrayal. And if that is your favorite Wanda, that is your favorite Wanda. But you have to understand if you want Wanda to continue to have this legacy and to have more content, we can't rely on an actress who is like, heading into her mid 30s. Not that it means that older actresses can't work, but like, you know, if Wanda is frozen in the comics in her mid 20s to younger.
my final thing on this before we move on to talking about other things is that to look at how reactions should be given. I recommend going onto YouTube and finding Donald Glover's stand-up routine on when he was rumored to play Spider-Man.
Hmm.
Because that is a perfect encapsulation of what not to do. And Donald Glover gives a perfect breakdown of what happened, and it's basically exactly what we're talking about. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. You mentioned Agatha Harkness. You have something related to her that you want to talk
So
about.
yeah, recently I received the Grimoire of Agatha Harkness, which is a fictional non-fiction book essentially of Agatha's spells, and it's published by Insight Editions. It is stunning. It is beautiful to look at. If you have seen it on my TikTok or my Instagram, it is
On
like
your
a.
bookshelf.
I mean, not many people who listen to the podcast have that access. I hope.
I do. I do.
You have to knock. um, but it's this gorgeous book. It is kind of a thing. The artwork, there's original artwork inside, which is this is not an ad, by the way. I'm not being paid, not been asked to say this. This is my unbiased review. I think it is a beautiful collector's piece. It is, if you are not familiar with comic lore surrounding magic, this is a very much an introductory guide. It is not anything new. It is all information that is already in the comics. There is kind of a light storyline running through it. It's kind of set around last year when we were doing a Contest of Chaos, where Agatha is kind of up to something, and Stephen. There's commentary from Stephen and Wanda throughout. There is commentary on like where magic comes from um Marvel Comics. There is spells and excerpts from the Darkhold, references to different magic users. It is not a fiction book in any way. You know, there's a slight storyline running through it in these little post-it notes, but don't go into it thinking this is a novel. In one go, I kind of like I pick it up. The original artwork inside is stunning, and I almost wish there was more original artwork because a lot of it is just panels taken from comics. I almost wish that it was a little bit more like a spell book rather than comic excerpts is my one and only complaint, mostly because I've seen some of the stuff that Insight Editions has done for Buffy and Wicked. They're also the people that made the Agatha Tarot cards that are gorgeous as well. Insight Editions do really good, kind of more subtle book to movie tie-ins than, traditionally when book to movie tie-ins have happened, we end up with the cover stuck on, Twilight with Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart's face on the front of it. This book has some really interesting commentary. It has a very strong narrative voice for Agatha and the way in which that she talks about magic. Wanda basically accuses her of being a liar, liar, pants on fire at the front of the book. and is continuously being like, actually, throughout. And I don't know why Steven's notes need to be there. I really don't. There's obviously mention of characters like Wiccan, of Alice Wu, of Jennifer Kale, people that people know from the Agatha universe. This is obviously meant to capitalize on the success of Agatha all along. I wish that Marvel Comics would, with the success of Agatha all along, would capitalize a little bit more on the characters that came from that. Lilia's been dead for a long time and is nothing like her MCU counterpart, so I can understand not touching on her. And they have come out with this Wiccan Witches Road series, but I really do hope that because Alice Wu's a pretty or just the Wu as she's called in the comics. I wish they would capitalize a little bit more on her because she's this like detective who does magic. That sounds like a really fun comic run. And I feel like they could in the comics pair her up with Jennifer Kale and have a really fun, because Jennifer Kale again is very dissimilar to her MCU counterpart, but I think that they could probably do something with that and give these characters, that's the whole point of really having these tie-ins, is so that they can give these characters a new life. Billy has a brand new look for his comic series, so if you're a Billy fan, go check it out. But I really do recommend, if you are doing some Christmas gifting, here's my little Christmas gifting suggestions, because a lot of you have asked me. The tarot deck is a good one. The Insight Editions Grimoire of Agatha Harkness. I would also recommend picking up there is a Scarlet Witch cake worthy shirt that I've always wanted. That's still on sale at fun.com. I would, if you're looking to invest in a comic, I would pick up the James Robinson Scarlet Witch run. It's very accessible if you are an Agatha fan or a Wanda fan, and you don't need a massive amount of context from other comics to jump right in with that. I also would super recommend the What If book that came out earlier on this year. There's a lot of books, but we haven't gotten a ton of new figures, though we do have the rumor that we are going to get a 2-pack, or even some people are saying it's going to be a 4-pack of the Crossing outfits coming. We don't know if it's going to be Wanda and Vision in the packet or Wanda and Pietro. There've been conflicting rumors, and some people saying it's going to be a 4-pack with Natasha, Quicksilver, and the Vision, which I would be slightly annoyed by because then I would have 2 figures
Am I
in
right in
one.
thinking? Am I right in thinking that What If book is the Scarlet Witch Peter Parker one that you reviewed
Mm-hmm.
earlier on this year?
Yeah, I thought it was a banger.
Yeah.
And then next year we're getting an Agatha Harkness novel and the printed graphic novel of the House of Harkness.
Is there been any more movement on the What If books or?
Well, there's a bunch more of them, but none of them have uh they're all what the What If series was supposed to be, in that they are separate,
Yeah.
unconnected stories.
Is there any Captain Carter? Because everybody loves Captain Carter.
And not that I've heard of, which is good. They've all been characters that Storm, and I'm pretty sure, I think Kitty Pryde was in a recent one.
Okay.
They're capitalizing on the X-Men now that they own them. I do recommend those books. I've heard a lot of positive things about the Loki one from people who are Loki fans. Um,
How
and I
do you know how
have,
many there are like altogether?
well, there was 3 published this year, and I believe there's going to be 3 more next year.
Okay, it's a
It's
good
it's a
little set.
decent series, and they're of kind of a, if you're an adult and reading them, they're not too teeny, but they're not an inaccessible read for teens.
They're quite
They're
an
not for,
easy. They're an easy read for us for adults and
but
interesting enough for the teen
I
market.
didn't feel talked down to when
Yeah.
I was reading that book.
Okay.
Um, but whereas I'm pretty sure the Agatha Harkness is a more straight up YA novel that we have coming out. But I will of course be reviewing that and we will reach out to the author and see if we can maybe get an interview. I am in conversation with the author of the What If novel, so we'll see where that goes as well.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, that's, and just final thing on the news front. The Bitty Pops for the X-Men Bitty Pops will be released on January 12th. You can pre-order from most places right now. I would I'll be honest, just get them when they come out on the Funko site. They will not be difficult to get. They're not limited run. The Bitty Pops tend to stay up for a long time. I wouldn't fret too much that they're going to sell out, personally.
Okay.
Maybe that's a bad warning. But as far as I know, like the original sets of Bitty Pops are still available everywhere. So I can't see why you would struggle with these ones. Now, I'm going to be so kind and let Nick free and loose as requested by you guys. Take it away, Nick. Tell us about the Ultimates run.
So we're doing Ultimates first, yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you. I've just talked for a really long time. That's your
Okay.
now. It's up to
No, it's
you.
up to me. So where we're at with the Ultimates now. So, a little bit of an admission. I have not read every single Ultimates comic. I still have not worked my way through Ultimate Black Panther, which it's just time dependent. I've just not gotten around to reading Ultimate Black Panther. However, I have gotten around to reading Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Wolverine, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion, and the Ultimates. And of course, the one shots that they've done so far, which included Ultimate Hawkeye, which came out back at the end of September. As of recording, we are 2 days away from Ultimate Universe 2 years in, which, from what I can work out, is a sequel to a is almost like a recap of what's kind of gone on. And we're going to be seeing Ultimate Daredevil in this issue. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's like 2 days away on December 3rd that is coming out. The Ultimate Universe, as I've said beforehand, the main comic line is written by John Hickman. The ultimate. Sorry, I'm going to rephrase that. Uh, Ultimate. The Ultimates is Dennis Camp. Ultimate Wolverine is Chris Condon. Ultimate X-Men is Peach Momoko. Jonathan Hickman is Ultimate Spider-Man, and Ultimate Black Panther is Brian Hill. Now, Jonathan Hickman's run on Ultimate Spider-Man. I'll go through that first. This has been as a Spider-Man fan, this has been an extremely fun comic to read. Seeing the Spider-Man mythos being given a bit of a shake-up, you can tell Jonathan Hickman is having fun with these characters, in terms of taking the pre-established dynamics and really having fun with them. Um, Having Gwen Stacy and Norman, this is spoilers for these comics, but having Gwen Stacy and Norman Osborn be in a relationship, having Gwen Stacy be part of a group of characters that are collectively Mysterio and how they relate to Peter Parker and his family. You have the sorry, you have Peter's son and his relationship to Felicia Hardy, that universe's Black Cat, and you have that universe's Kingpin. It's it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying this. Is out of all of them, this is the one that I'm most sad gonna see go. It's really great to see Peter Parker as an adult man in his clearly in his mid to late 30s, happily married to Mary Jane and with two kids, and going through the Spider-Man thing like as that age. It's a lot of fun, and having a teenage son in Richard Parker who has the teenage kind of irresponsibility and is kind of learning the lessons of being a teenager in Spider-Man, which is a really cool pairing to have those two in the same comic. Um, I don't really have any complaints with this one. Um, I have seen people talk about the lack of originality of all things with this one, which I can't really work out what they're talking about. I just, if I'm being perfectly honest, the criticisms I've seen of all the Ultimate line so far have just been people that just don't like change, and I think you should just all just shut up and just enjoy what's being presented to you,
I don't
or
know.
just
Some of the
not.
things that you've told me about this line make me want to throw myself into the sea. So
I haven't got to that one yet. So yeah, I haven't got to that one
I
yet.
mean, I think some of the things that what I think when you said, should we wind it back to Gwen Stacy is in a relationship with Norman Osborn?
Yeah, so Norman
What in the
Osborn.
Wattpad is going on?
Well, Gwen and Norman historically in the main universe have there there is a really infamous comic called Sins of the Past, where it turns out that not Norman Osborn, sorry, Harry Osborn and Gwen Stacy in this relationship in this universe, but in Sins of the Past is Norman Osborn has children with Gwen Stacy.
And nobody likes that.
No, it was terrible. But
Exactly.
in this Ultimate Spider-Man run, having Harry and Gwen together, and Harry with like this mech suit Iron Man, he's also on the good side, and
Just
Norman
like
is
weird. I swear you'd like the Injustice run. I feel like you just like these like I feel like you just never had a Wattpad phase. I fear you need to just go and read like a bunch of fan fiction and then you would get the same enjoyment.
probably.
I love that you enjoy it, but you will say story like the reason I refuse to tune into this run is because it all sounds horrendous.
No,
Like
I no, I understand your
well,
criticism.
you just told me that the people that don't like this don't like change. No, we like consistent. I mean, Jonathan,
It's a completely different universe though. The whole point of this universe is what if like you
it's
take the
just that
Marvel
what if
universe
this
and
was
just
the
have
edgiest? What if this was the edgiest Edgelord
it's
universe?
really not edgy. Like it's not
I'm
it's
sorry. What happened to Bucky Barnes again, my love?
well, I'll get onto that in a bit. I don't think this. I really don't think that these issues, this whole Ultimates thing, is just pure edge lord rage bait stuff. I really don't. And my case is Peach Momoko's run on Ultimate
That's a
X-Men.
diff. That yeah. Well, Peach is a different story to what. Not. I'm not gonna say it. I love all writers, and I will not be rude. And I actually think that what I said about it being an edgelord's dream, I am filled with love.
Thank you for that statement. No, so Peach Momoko's run on Ultimate X-Men is beautiful. She writes and does all the coloring arting, drawing herself. She's done 24 comics thus far. Well, no,
Please,
there will be
please write
24
this next
comics.
Scarlet Witch run, please,
Yeah, I've
please.
seen her Scarlet Witch art. She did a Scarlet Witch piece of art and it's utterly gorgeous. It's honestly incredible. I think having the X-Men, this universe's X-Men taking place primarily in Japan and having it all kind of tied in with what Peach Momoko drawing from her own experiences in Japan and looking and using art techniques from that culture, having the Japanese culture kind of bleed through into these panels. I think it's honestly one of the best things. It's the one I look forward to. Whereas the one Ultimate Spider was the one I'm enjoying the most. Ultimate X-Men is the one I'm looking forward to reading and just adoring the art. It's honestly incredible. It's great. It's honestly really a great run. I think what's the name of the award? It's the Eisner Award or something for comics.
I'm
Um,
not sure.
I honestly, she needs when this is all up and running. If she doesn't win an award for this, um, I she's it's honestly it's just yeah. So Ultimate X-Men, really great series. We have characters like their universe's version of Psylocke, Armor. Trying to go through the universe's version of Storm is in this. No, Storm is in the Ultimate Black Panther run. There is also the Shadow King is very much a character in this one. It's it's the one that I'm like I think you should all just go and read. Ultimate Wolverine is probably the one that I think will be close to the criticisms of the Edgelord stuff. I don't personally agree, but I think it's the one personally close to that. In this one, Wolverine is the Winter Soldier as it starts off. He's kidnapped. The Maker goes in, basically kills the Thornton, the scientist one of the scientists responsible for the Weapon X program. And then it kind of flashes forward to Wolverine. well, Winter Soldier, sorry, basically attacks an opposition hideout, which is the opposition's run by the Rasputin family, Colossus Magic and Omega Red, and he basically goes in. The Winter Soldier, kind of possessed by what possessed? What's the word? Brainwashed, and he kills Mystique and Nightcrawler. And then you have his interactions with Gambit, Kitty Pryde, um, this universe's version of Black Widow. Um, the Phoenix is very much controlled by the Rasputin underneath the Kremlin, and that kind of arc hasn't resolved itself. It's very much setting itself for the Phoenix to be kind of let loose. This one's a lot of fun because it's very, very gory and like it's I don't know. I like this one. I like this one a lot. I think this universe's version of Angel as well is very, very interesting. We only see him for like literally half an issue, but like it's a really cool version of that character. Um, Legion makes an appearance in the most recent version or the most couple of recent comics issues. Sorry. Um, yeah, no, Ultimate Egg Wolverine. It's really really good. I think it's good. I think it's a lot of fun. Um, the Ultimate Spider-Man incursion. Before I get onto the main kind of the main issues, the main kind of storyline. So, Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion is a story where Miles Morales, there's only one Miles Morales in the Marvel universe. He is his baby sister falls through a portal into the Ultimate Universe after the Maker asks him to come back to because the Maker and Miles Morales come from the same dead universe. Um, they're the only two survivors, and the Maker went to visit Miles Morales and asked him if he wanted to come to his new world, and Miles said no. Billy, his little sister, ends up getting kind of taken, like teleported away. Um, and then Miles ends up kind of traveling through the different parts of the Ultimate Universe. So he goes through the Spider-Man bit, then he goes into Wakanda. He meets he goes into the Ultimate X-Men part in Japan. Is kind of like just this dropping off in all these kind of different places to kind of see this universe as like a whole and how it kind of relates. What these issues are doing, I think it's like 5 issues. Yeah, 5 issues. What they've done, and they've wrapped it up now, is they're very much set up the Ultimate Universe's origin boxes are going to be in the main universe. So there's going to be very much a storyline in the main universe around origin boxes in 2026. So that's very much what this is. It's like a Deus Ex Machina kind of being brought over into the main universe. So just it's relevant. I think it will become relevant at some point because like these origin boxes are a pretty cool piece of what they call a It's a really cool MacGuffin that I think the main universe is going to end up employing quite a lot. The incursion one is the one where I'm thinking I think they kind of maybe missed a trick because it's just 5 issues in and out, and it does they he just meets up with his characters just to kind of have it as like a crossover. Um, it's the one that's probably the most disposable, I think. It doesn't. It also doesn't feel like it doesn't give the promise of what I felt like it was doing at the beginning, which was maybe exploring the relationship between Miles Morales and the Maker, which I think would have been much more of an interesting arc for the series to go. Obviously, with the Maker kind of been locked away, kind of maybe prevents that. Which kind of brings me on to the Ultimates. Any questions so far, Hannah? Before I go on any further?
No.
No, big cig of water there. So, The Ultimates, so that's Denny's camp. Is this is the main kind of run with which is Iron Lad, Captain America, um, God, She-Hulk, Giant Man, Wasp. Sorry, I'm just losing my mind a little bit by trying to keeping track of all these different characters. And Doom as well is very much part of this team. And Doom in this universe, Doom is a Reed Richards that has been tortured by the Maker. Um, we are at the point now in issue 16, I think we're at. No, issue 18 we've just had, where we are at the point where um we are at the point where they're kind of building up to the Maker getting out. So the Maker's been locked away in Latveria, if I remember rightly, and he's kind of locked away in this city. And we are getting at the we're now at the point where the Maker's just about to be let out. What's relevant to Wanderverse listeners is this is the run which had Wanda and Pietro way back in like issue 8, I think it was, which ended up that was the issue that ended up me going, oh, I'm actually enjoying this. I'm going to reread everything. Wanda and Pietro haven't featured until issue 18, in which they are in a panel where they're being spoken to by Captain America, in which I think is a very good encapsulation of what this series is trying to do, where you're taking the pre-existing iconography, the pre-existing storylines of Captain America being friendly to Wanda and Pietro in their early days in the Avengers way back in the 60s, which Hannah has discussed previously on this podcast, and recontextualizing it to this new universe. Um, so there is a line there is a thing in this where Wanda says, we've done things, bad things, wouldn't be so nice if you knew." And she's just a girl. She's like a preteen. Her and Pietro were very like they're children basically. And Cap turns around and says, "That doesn't mean you can't do good things. And to be fair, Wanda, the world did bad things to you first." And that I think is a really great exchange, which encapsulates what this run is trying to do. Because we know from context, me and Hannah know from context of looking at how Wanda has been over the years, that her relationship with Captain America and the early event in those early Avengers runs is very meaningful to her. And we see that kind of through the main universe and through these different iterations. Um, so having that exchange, I think is I think it's just a reassurance that this is what this is. Um, we're getting like these old, obviously these different versions of the characters showing up. Ultimate Hawkeye it was a pretty interesting character. We got to see that universe's Cliff Barton, who's just as a piece of shit as his regular version. Um, so yeah, I think kind of wrapping it up. We are getting to, we said this before where the Ultimates is ending. Like they've said, Marvel have turned around and said to all the writers, like, in April next year, 2026, it's going to be it. That's going to be over. I don't know what that's going to look like, and I'm excited to see what it's going to entail. I'm going to be sad to see these characters go, these versions of these characters going to go. But I'm looking forward to one of the things that I kind of want to do in the future is bring together all the trade paperbacks and kind of just have them as a set as like this is the Ultimates universe, and like I can reread this as like its own self-contained thing. Um, because I think this it's what it is. It's just a really cool, in my opinion, it's a really cool self-contained universe that's been running for a couple of years, and it's hopefully that'll be it. As sad as I am to see that. Um, which I guess brings us on to where the current Marvel universe is at the moment. Do you want to have a quick talk about One World Under Doom?
Yes. Um,
and the why we are doing this.
So I haven't got my copy hasn't arrived, or I can't remember if it's not been released or, but basically I don't have the last issue of One World Under Doom to hand. And if you just heard that, that was Miko making a very small cameo in this episode. He also agrees that it's very exciting that Wanda has just been made the Sorcerer Supreme in One World Under Doom, essentially. I have seen the panel. I could not for the life of me get hold of the comic, but basically that storyline is wrapping up. And obviously Stephen has not been Sorcerer Supreme for like a wee while now. Um and World Under Doom is coming to an end.
So
It's
what
it's
World Under
been an
Doom has
interest.
ended.
Oh, see, my comic hasn't arrived. I ordered it and it hasn't come.
Do you want me to kind of go through roughly what's happened?
If you wouldn't mind, because I was waiting for the physical because I know
Okay.
it's on the way, but I don't have it.
No, that's okay. During the events of the Blood Hunt storyline, Doctor
Mm-hmm.
Doom took over the title of Sorcerer Supreme from Doctor Strange. Now that I've not read. Doom went away to Latveria, and then he kind of came out and um, basically took over the world. He did this thing where he announces that the world is this a global united Latveria. He declares war is illegal, mandates free universal healthcare, offers free public education for all. Honestly, it makes it. He's just giving people what they want, and the Avengers are all like, "Oh, hang on, guys, like something's up here. Doom's doing this. What is he doing?" They think that all the world leaders who have agreed to this have are under mind control or being replaced by Doombots. Um, Meanwhile, Helmut Zemo and Hydra try to go in to take out Doom because they don't want to be ruled by Doom.
Just so
Um,
you guys know, Zemo in the comics and Zemo on TV, very different
oh,
characters.
so different.
And also, there are two Zemos in the comics, very different from each other as well. There's Dad Zemo and there's Baby Zemo.
Okay.
Just because, yeah, Zemo is a very much a villain in the comics and not in the interesting and morally complex way he is in the MCU.
Yeah.
Just so we're all on the same page there, I just think it's important context for our listeners.
So Zemo goes off to try and kill Doom, but Doom kills Zemo and replaces him with a Doombot. And
A likely
basically,
thing for him to do.
in one of my favorite panels, Doom is basically riding a Tyrannosaurus Rex version of it, variant of himself. Which is just amazing. I think it's really cool. The Avengers basically try and defeat Doom, and but there's all the civilians and the people of the world are like, "Why are you doing that? He's giving us exactly what we want." And Doom is like, "I'm not going to hold anything against you. Look, here you go, Ben Grimm. You can be a human again." Um, the Avengers are obviously still trying to work out what's going on. The Scarlet Witch, Wanda herself, is basically wants to lead all the kind of espionage agents and magic users to try and get close to the world leaders to try and figure out what's going on. While they're doing that, Captain Marvel recruits the masses of evil. um,
Fun.
yeah, massive evil being Arcade, Baron Mordo, Doc Ock, MODOK, Madeline Pryor, and Mysterio, to basically distract Doom from, you know, from what's going on, so the Scarlet Witch can kind of get close to these world leaders and try and work out what's going on. They basically get there and realize that Wanda realizes that actually nothing's happened. Like they find out that all the world leaders have just gone, you know what? Yeah, no, sure. And basically that's it. There's no ulterior motive at this point. The Avengers are basically like they're losing. They're losing their fight against Doom. Like popularity with the X-Men, popularity with all the heroes is basically at an all-time low. Now, because the Sorcerer Supreme, Stephen Strange, as you know from the movies as well. Basically, he is responsible for kind of maintaining the 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 seal around the earth, basically protecting the earth from one Dormammu. Now Dormammu realizes that the earth is vulnerable, and there is an incredible fight between Dormammu and Doom, which Doom nearly loses. Um, Now Dormammu and Doom fight. Uh, Now all the heroes get released from this pocket dimension that Dormammu's trapped him in, and they all fight together to defeat Doom. Wanda basically like stops his connection for the dark dimension. The Invisible Woman punches him, and basically they expel Dormammu back to the dark dimension. They all kind of work together to do that, and they decide that basically Thor mentions how Odin ruled Asgard, but like he had to fight for all the respect, and basically made a point of being like, well, what we got to give Doom a chance, basically. Um, Maria Hill shows up and is like, Doom's hiding something big. And basically, we get to a point where all the heroes go into Latveria, or some of the heroes go into Latveria, which is including Wanda and the Invisible Woman. And the rest of the heroes kind of fight each other. They realize that basically through blood magic, chaos magic, and time magic, Latveria is basically a prison for 1 million souls that are having their lifetimes harvested to basically empower Doom's magic.
Mood.
Yeah, I know, right? Mr. Fantastic makes all it public. um, Doom and Mr. Fantastic are basically fighting, and this is where Valeria Richards comes into the story in a much more kind of in a much more important way. She's the goddaughter of Doom.
Yes.
Doom is her godfather, and she basically questions Victor. Why is he doing this and all this kind of stuff. And at one point in this fight, basically Doom alters time, making every single event that's happened a fixed moment in time and cannot be altered.
Jeez Louise.
He detonates his armor. This is all in the last issue. He detonates his armor to basically try and kill, as many heroes as possible.
Can you chill out?
Valeria is mortally wounded by the shards as she attempts to confront Doom and dies.
Oh no.
And Doom is obviously devastated because there's only one thing that Doom cares about more than himself, and that's Valeria. And he ends up traveling to go to the Vishanti and then the Living Tribunal to basically resurrect Valeria.
And they're like,
He
uh-oh, you made everything,
They agree to resurrect Valeria after he basically says he'll pay the price for his actions. Um, the the news kind of comes out, and there are people that are supporting Doom and also blame the heroes for his defeat, which,
To be fair, if I was getting free healthcare, free education, the whole 9 yards, I would kind of be annoyed at them too. I'd be
yeah,
like, what is go I mean, it's the old Alphabet and the animals issue, isn't it?
yeah. Basically um, Doom says to Mr. Fantastic, he says, basically take care of the world, and then he disintegrates. Doom's
Mood,
will,
mood, mood,
yeah,
me.
Doom's will is hidden in his mask, which leaves Latveria and his other possessions in the hands of whoever can take care of it, which leads us to Scarlet Witch welcoming the Eye of Agamotto, the Cloak of Levitation, and the other icons of the Super Supreme, and she basically says if she can stir up some trouble. So this One World Under Doom storyline, I think, was really, really good. As I read it all in the space of like a couple of weeks, and it was a lot of enjoyment. Seeing all these kind of heroes basically fail, and what if Doom had a point was very much the kind of the idea of this comic, and I think it succeeded. And like I said, we are now at the point where Wanda herself is the Sorcerer Supreme, which
I
Uh,
just find with these big events a lot of the time that there's an interesting concept in the middle somewhere, but we need much more focused storytelling that gives the characters that are involved something doesn't there are other storylines are happening and you're like the levels of powers that they're showing in other comics makes no sense with their role with it. The Blood Hunt was very much that, like Thor and Wanda just being in prison because they didn't want to have to deal with their power sets.
I mean that this was a massive crossover. The One World Undoom was like a massive crossover.
Yes.
Um,
Sorry. I apologize.
I think no, I think it was a really really good series. Um, I do think it was a really good series, and like we've got this next thing is like what's going to happen to Doom's will.
I'm
Um,
gonna take it all. He didn't
um,
find me funny there,
but yeah,
guys.
Sorcerer Supreme is out December 31st.
So we like this we had more we're gonna talk about this episode, but this episode is now so long
Is it?
that yeah, we're like almost over an hour.
Ah, chump change, isn't it?
No, much longer than our usual episodes. But before we go, we will once again like this is where we're greedy, capitalistic, evil people. We next year are launching. Miko's here to discuss this as well. Apparently, this involves him. Um, we're launching a Patreon next year. You will still get all your regular podcast episodes for free, of course. We're not going anywhere. None of my regular content will be behind a paywall. But what we will be releasing uh, uh, that you've asked for is our commentary on Marvel projects. So we will be doing what like watch along with watch throughs, and we will release our full commentary. So it will be me, Nick, and the famous Amy Lee all giving our commentary on the Marvel films as we go along. We will release the first two episodes for free in the new year as our Christmas gift to you. And then the Patreon will be £5 a month. There will be two clear episodes a month, I believe was the agreement.
So yeah, we're releasing Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk on Christmas Day as a
Merry
Christmas gift.
Christmas,
And then
everyone.
January 1st, starting January 1st, will be Iron Man 2. And then every fortnight we'll be releasing a commentary. As part of the Patreon, we're also gonna Hannah will also do probably a commentary to some film called Rush that you've been
And
asking
some
her to
other
do.
films, probably Wicked, because we'll try and do some witchy movies. So, like Wicked and Bewitched. Maybe some of the influences from WandaVision would be fun to do practical magic. You guys, we'll get you guys to vote. We'll hear what you want to see. We'll also probably do some member exclusive lives and if you are a Patreon member, I will prioritize your questions in lives. And, we'll try and give you guys as much as bang as we can for your buck. This is literally a way of us upgrading our podcast equipment, of us, you know, funding a little bit of what we do behind the scenes in terms of the channel and my microphone situation. I'm
We
sorry if you can hear.
we want to give you guys the commentaries because you've asked for them. But it's just a case of like how can we do that, but also make it like worth your while and worth our while. Because we thinking like giving you the commentaries for free and not offering you anything else is probably not fair. And also for us as well, like you know, we want to sound better. We want to do, on
We want to be
location stuff. Yeah, we want
professionals,
to be more
guys.
professional.
Zoom is expensive. Because obviously we pay for the software. Again, sorry, Miko is having feedback to this part of the episode. But we want to give you guys the best experience possible, and I promise that we're not going to be greedy with it. And there is no obligation whatsoever to take
Absolutely
part
none.
in the paid content, and this will not change. Obviously, we'll promo the Patreon, but you can just skip on through it. You can tell us to get knotted all you want, but it will be an option, and that will be launching as our Christmas gift to you. And there will be some gorgeous, gorgeous artwork by Lily. It will also fund more artwork by Lily because Lily deserves to be paid for her work, of course.
Pay the
Um,
artists.
yes, fuck AI, real artist only. Um, Yeah, and like yeah, we'll talk about what you guys want to hear us talk about. You wanted to hear Nick talk about the Ultimate Universe, and I didn't just heckle him the entire time, which was difficult, but I did it.
I mean, I didn't even say that what's happened to that universe is Bucky Barnes, but you know.
Shh, enough. But yeah, we always take your feedback. We're always interested in who you want to see us interview, what you want us to talk about. We try and create content that will be interesting to you. The Wonder Man promo is starting to ramp up. So we will talk about that more next week. We'll start to get into some Simon Williams content gently as we go on, because that's going to be the next big thing we talk about, probably is going to be the Wonder Man TV show getting released, which I'm super excited for. Are you excited too, Miko? Wow. Um,
I thought you were going to ask me if I was excited, but I think Miko's opinion is more valid.
I think he's more excited than you, to be honest. Um, and obviously we'll be reviewing the Agatha book when it comes out. If you guys want me to, I would be more than happy to review the Yelena novel that recently came out. If that's something you guys are interested in, let me know, because I can just read it independently and not talk about it on here. But if you guys are interested, hit me up. I would love to give that a chance as well. I mean, just give us feedback. You can press that text us button. It sends us an email. We read all of your fan mail. I print it all. I'm insane. DM me, DM Nick. Interact with us. We love it.
Where can the fine people find you?
They can find me. Oh, what a good segue. They can find me over on Instagram at the Wonderverse. They can find me on TikTok at Into the Wonderverse. On Twitter at the Wonderverse. YouTube Into the Wonderverse. Basically, if you look for Hannah Maximoff and Into the Wonderverse, you'll find me.
Yeah, I'm very good at the segues. It's almost as though I've been doing this for a few years. Uh, you can find me on Instagram, the Film Nick, Letterboxd, the Film Nick. And my other podcast, Keen Atomic, has been come back from the dead a little bit. We did a review of Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, and we did
It's
a noir.
alive. It's
We
alive.
we did a Noirvember episode where we reviewed Stanley Kubrick's The Killing and Catherine Bigelow's Strange Days, which leads us to episode 99, which means our next episode on that podcast will be episode 100, which we've got something really exciting for you guys planned. If you want to listen to it, which will be out early next year. So yeah.
And if you want to see more from Lily, the gorgeous podcast art, then you can find her linked in the comments. Music by Melody Ray Griffith. And until we see you next time, stay magical.